Current baddest man on the planet, Tyson Fury, is set to do battle with fellow Brit Dillian Whyte this April, as Whyte has rejected step-aside money to get his crack at the current WBC and the Ring Magazine belt holder. Fury has had his say on the fight recently, as only Tyson Fury does. Today, we're discussing the Gypsy King, saying Whyte would be his 6th biggest heavyweight win, so stay tuned. First up, how did the fight come about? Well, it hasn't officially just yet, but all signs point to the fact that it will. Dillian Whyte is still to sign on for the fight, which he is reported to be making in excess of $8 million for, much to the ire of the Gypsy King. Fury has designs on fighting current WBA, WBO, IBF, and IBO title holder Alexander Usyk, who beat Anthony Joshua to take his titles back in September. Joshua was set for an instant rematch against the Ukrainian, but accepted around $15 million to step aside when the idea of the Fury vs. Usyk fight came about, but this one will have to wait. Dillian Whyte has earned the next shot at Fury as the WBC's next mandatory title challenger. The sanctioning body has given both fighters a deadline of this weekend to put pen to paper on a deal to fight, which would more than likely go ahead on April 23rd at London's Wembley Stadium. Both Warren and Fury have expressed concerns and frustrations at the amount of time Whyte is taking to sign the deal, and some reports have suggested that the Englishman is unhappy with the terms of the deal, which is heavily in the favor of the Gypsy King, with some suggesting a split of around 80-20. It's still $8 million for Whyte, and Fury's the champ. If they're still looking for someone by the end of the week, we'll do it if it means banking $8 million. Am I right? Next up, we're discussing Fury's comments. Stay with us. So as we know, Fury has been angered lately by Whyte's purse demands, but some have suggested that it should be Whyte who is angry. Can we all just get along? Fury spent the past weekend promoting his new line of energy drinks called Furocity down in London, and also found time during the weekend to meet with Bob Arum and Frank Warren to discuss the Whyte showdown. The two promoters won the purse bid to stage the fight, which currently stands at just north of $40 million. Fury is set to earn 80% of that, but there was also talk that the purse could be increased in order to have both Whyte and Joshua step aside, so we will see what happens there. Fury was speaking about Anthony Joshua agreeing to take $15 million to step aside from the Usyk rematch, and he was less than flattering about the former champ. He claims that once everyone had agreed that Joshua would receive $15 million, he then demanded another $5 million as he is a greedy coward, according to Fury. Tyson claims Joshua knows he cannot beat Usyk, and it is this that would ensure he wouldn't be getting the biggest bucks if he was to fight Fury, so he's trying to cash in. Fury, in true Fury fashion, went on to call Joshua a busted flush and said that he wants no part of Usyk, as when he gets knocked out for the second time, he is finished, which would also kiss goodbye to any fight with Fury. What did the big man have to say about Dillian Whyte then? Let's see. Well, he was far more complimentary, if you could call it that, about Whyte, and also claimed that he wants to be more active this year. Before he fought Deontay Wilder for the third time last October, he hadn't been out in around 20 months, which is insane for the world heavyweight champion. That all starts with Dillian Whyte come April, who Fury had this to say of: "I've never hated Dillian, my old sparring partner, but he would be an idiot as well as a coward if he pulls out of this fight. A coward because he's been waiting 1,200 days for a world title shot he says he's always wanted at any price. At $8 million, this is the biggest payday of his life by a fortune. I'm making him for life. Plus, if he were to surprise everyone by actually winning, he would get another $4 million lottery bonus. He's getting 8 times more than I got to beat Vladimir Klitschko. What's the matter with him?" Fury then went on to rank his biggest wins and placed Whyte pretty far down the list at number 6, should he actually go on to defeat him. The Gypsy King, unsurprisingly, ranks Wilder at the top, followed by former champ Vladimir Klitschko, Derek Chisora, Otto Wallen, and then Steve Cunningham. What do you make of Fury's list? Do you agree with him? News of a beef between Fury and Conor McGregor now. Stay tuned. In one of the oddest beefs so far in 2022, Irish UFC star Conor McGregor and the Gypsy King himself recently traded blows back and forth on Twitter. McGregor had reacted angrily after Fury had shown his support for his old nemesis, Khabib Nurmagomedov. The Irishman, who is known for tweeting when possibly intoxicated, took exception to Fury complimenting the Russian and fired back at the more cam-based fighter, referencing the fact that Fury stood aside and watched at the Canelo vs. Saunders bout last year as Billy Joe's father was manhandled by security. He said, "Yup, the Joyces. Big Joel, you bottled it up with Billy Joe. What were you doing there? You left him. Versace. Done. Nothing. Yez did it right. You right. Ha ha ha. Even when I'm wrong, I'm right. Who did it right? The Mac Daddy tonight in-house. Miami D12, Bahamas." As you can tell, not a lot of what McGregor tweeted made sense, and Fury fired back telling him to come back when he wins a fight, and then calling him a tap machine. Classic. He also goaded the Irishman about being a bully who hits old men. At one point, Fury told McGregor he had done done more tapping than MJ's old dance shoes. Brilliant. After McGregor was shown a video in which the heavyweight had praised him, he dropped the beef and backtracked, saying, "It's all good, we forget it. Fair play, Tyson. God bless you, mate." What do you make of the pair's mini beef? Give us your thoughts below. Kell Brook fires a warning to Amir Khan next. This weekend sees one of the biggest fights in recent British boxing history as Sheffield fighter Kell Brook takes on Bolton's Amir Khan. Brook has recently told fans that he has now mastered the dreaded weight cut and that he is now a much happier fighter. He went on to warn the former Olympian that he possesses the skills and power to knock him out, and also said that Khan had made a grave mistake by dodging him for 7 months. Brook told fans that he has been training solid in the meantime, and even though there's a 6-figure fine in place for every pound the fighters miss weight by, that is no longer a problem for Brook. Brook spent Christmas away from the family in a bid to reach peak fitness ahead of Saturday night's clash, and although booed at Wednesday's open workouts, he said he truly believes that he ends the fight by knocking Khan out, who has previously been stopped by Breidis Prescott, Danny Garcia, Canelo Alvarez, and Terrence Crawford, as well as losing a split decision to Lamont Peterson. Brook goes into this one having lost 3 of his last 6 fights to Gennady Golovkin, Errol Spence, and the aforementioned Crawford. This served as a wake-up call to Brook, who had lost none of his previous 36 fights. Who do you have this weekend going into this one? Let us know your thoughts below. And finally, news of Triple G's imminent return to action. Super popular Kazakh fighter Gennady Golovkin makes his long-awaited return to the ring this April after not featuring since December of 2020. He will face Ryota Murata in a unification fight in Japan in early April in a rescheduled clash. The current IBF and IBO middleweight champion will soon know exactly when in April he'll be fighting, after the pair were scheduled to meet back in December, but the fight was called off thanks to travel restrictions from the pesky COVID-19 pandemic. Golovkin revealed on social media this week that he is training hard for the fight against the Japanese WBA super middleweight champion, amid reports that if he gets past the 36-year-old Murata, then he'll be set to face Saul Canelo Alvarez for a 3rd time. The pair have so far fought twice, with Canelo coming out on top once and the other fight ending in a draw. The draw was a particularly controversial one, with Golovkin having outpunched the Mexican in 10 of the 12 rounds, but somehow the judges scored it as a draw. Boxing purists have the fights at 1 apiece, even if the official records don't say as much, so a 3rd fight would serve as a symbolic rubber match between 2 of the greatest currently active boxers on the planet. As always, thanks for tuning in today, and remember to stop by next time for some more fun and games. Also, why not do us a solid and share our video with any boxing fan friends you have on your socials. Bye, guys.